There's a moment, a silent split-second choice you face when someone extends a hand, swears loyalty, shares secrets, promises to stand by you through the storm. In that fragile instant, the average person does what they've been conditioned to crave. They trust, they open up, they let the walls crumble. You're my ally. I believe you. We've got each other's backs. It feels warm, noble, unbreakable, like the glue holding civilizations together. But in Machiavelli, it's the crack where empires bleed out, because the second you trust blindly, you hand them the knife to your throat. And in the shadowed arena of power, loyalty isn't a bond. It's a leash waiting to tighten. If they sense your faith, they don't see a partner. They see prey wandering into the dark, blindfolded and begging for fall. This is the venomous truth Machiavelli distilled from the ruins of princes long before the world caught up. And as a prince, he didn't sugarcoat it. Men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, covetous. Trust them at your peril. The one who trusts freely invites the blade, sharp, unexpected, often from the hand you clasp tightest. The one who doesn't, he turns their oaths into weapons against them, wielding doubt like a scepter. Let's cut to the bone. Trusting rarely builds empires. What it does is erode your edge, layer by layer, until you're hollowed out. Because when you bare your soul, you're inviting their shadows into yours. You're accepting their mask as truth, letting their smiles hide the daggers. You're whispering without words, you hold the keys to my downfall. And once they have that, they script your end, rewriting alliances into ambushes. Even if they're sincere today, tomorrow's betrayal paints you the fool, exposed and ridiculed. Why? Because only the naive rush to bond, mistaking warmth for steel. The cunning let doubt fester, like a slow poison. They let the promise hang in the void, untouched, because the real play is this. Mirror their loyalty back as suspicion. Make them prove it under your unblinking gaze. Make them sweat, overextend, reveal the cracks in their facade. Make them look desperate, scheming, exposed, like the fox circling the trap it built itself. Because the one who demands proof first owns the shadows. And Machiavelli knew, whoever commands a doubt commands a throne, pulling strings from the darkness where no one sees. Most people trust because they hunger for connection, a desperate fill for the void inside. They think if they just share enough, vulnerabilities, dreams, midnight confessions, reveal enough layers of their raw self, echo their faith in endless reassurances, it'll forge an iron alliance that time can't rust. Picture it. Late night talks turning into blood brother pacts, colleagues bonding over coffee into ride or die teams. It feels epic, cinematic, like the heroes in your favorite stories. But that hunger stems from a void of strategy, not strength. An emotional black hole sucking you into weakness. You don't want bonds in the dark. You want leverage, cold and calculated. Bonds are for the weak-hearted, the ones who crumble when the first crack appears. Leverage is for the throne, unyielding and eternal. And power doesn't flow from being loved, from those fleeting hugs and high fives. It flows from being unpredictable, revered from afar, armored in a distrust that makes others tiptoe around you. So when someone swears, "I'll never betray you," no matter what, and you nod along, eyes lighting up, "I trust you completely, your family now." You've already slipped into the abyss. Now you're exposed. Your secret's a map to your ruin. Now you're invested. Emotions tangle like vines choking your judgment. Now you've gifted them the Machiavellian weakness, vulnerability, the chink where the arrow finds home. Think of the shadows who shaped your world. Not the charmers with their easy laughs, not the crowd pleasers clapping for applause. The ones who held distance like a crown, regal and remote. The ones who made you question your own words with a single, piercing glance across the room. The ones who, when oaths were sworn in heated moments, never blinked, never rushed to reciprocate. Machiavelli would carve this into the cold stone of night. He who trusts submits, kneeling before the illusion of unity. He who withholds, he forces them to chase his approval like hounds after a shadow. In their frenzy, they often overestimate his mercy, building him into a god they fear to cross. That's the game, the eternal dance in the half-light. When you don't commit, when you let the air thicken with unspoken reservations, they unravel thread by thread. They push harder for your nod, offering more proofs, more gestures, more pieces of themselves. They glance sideways for cracks in your armor and find only polished obsidian. Suddenly, their power fades like mist at dawn, while yours sharpens to a razor's edge, because you've done the one thing no eager ally can stomach. Made them perform for your shadow, turning their loyalty into a desperate audition. And that's how you seize the board, flipping the pieces with a whisper. You let their promise die in the echo of its own fragility, a hollow vow crumbling under the weight of doubt. Let's plunge deeper into the undercurrents. With a real current's pull, you step into a circle. Friends at a dimly lit bar, colleagues in a high-stakes boardroom, lovers tangled in bedsheets. Someone pledges undying support, subtle or bold. Maybe a casual, "I've got your back," always over whiskey, a late-night confession whispered in the glow of a phone screen, a public alliance shouted in a group chat to seal the deal. Eyes watch from the edges, waiting for your leap of faith, the moment you seal it with a grin or a grip. And here's your move, the shadowed pivot. Say nothing binding. No embrace that screams commitment. No reciprocity that mirrors their warmth. No rush of words to affirm the pact. Just cool, measured reserve, a pause that stretches like the night itself. In that breath, heavy with unspoken weight, you are the abyss. Untouchable, eternal, a void that swallows light. Everyone in the room, or scrolling the thread, now wonders, their minds churning. Why no rush to trust? What hidden fractures does he see in this bond that we miss? Is he above the easy alliance, floating in some colder realm? Did that oath just chain them tighter to his silence? You flip the entire ritual, appending the script they expected. Because people aren't judging the promise, the flowery words or the dramatic gesture. They're judging your restraint, the steel in your stillness. And reserve, wielded with presence like a velvet gloved fist, echoes louder than any sworn pact, reverberating through the air like thunder in a crypt. Machiavelli didn't just map the courts of kings and popes. He mapped the soul's treacherous undercurrents, the hidden rivers where ambition flows black and unseen. He understood one eternal axiom, etched in the blood of fallen rulers. Power isn't in the words exchanged over candlelight or contract. It's in what you withhold. The faith you could grant like manna, but deny like a locked gate. Recall Cesare Borgia, Machiavelli's own Prince of Shadows. He trusted no one fully, not even his father the Pope, turning whispers of loyalty into tests of fire. Allies who passed, rewarded sparingly. Those who faltered, vanished into the Tiber. Now here's the iciest tactic, the one that chills the spine. Sometimes you don't just doubt the oath, you twist it, bending it back on itself like a serpent devouring its tail. They say, "We're in this together forever, through hell and high water." Smile faintly, the ghost of amusement in your eyes. Look through them as if peering into their soul's hidden compartments, and reply, "If that's your vow, time will carve it true." Not warm like a hearth, not skeptical with sneer outright, just detached, neutral ice, a wraith adrift on the currents of indifference. What unfolds in the wake? They falter, their confidence cracking like thin ice, because they craved your mirror, a reflection of their devotion to validate the gamble. They wanted to see their loyalty bounce back amplified, an echo chamber of mutual myth. Instead, they're left clutching their own chain, the weight of unreturned faith dragging them down. Doubt creeps in on their side like fog rolling over graves. Did I overcommit, spilling secrets too soon? Do I look needy now, a beggar at his door? Am I the one exposed, my motives laid bare under his unyielding gaze? They are, utterly. You've taken their extended hand, warm, open, pleading, and made them question if it's poison with their own ambition, all without lifting a finger or uttering a condemnation. It's alchemy in the dark, their light turned to lead. There's a point sharp as a stiletto when the silence on trust becomes a wound that festers, not yours, the one who hold the line. But there's the eager pledger star for your leap into the unknown. That's the turn, the inexorable pivot where fortunes invert. They thought they were the faithful anchor, the rock in your storm. Now they're adrift, begging for validation like a ship signaling flares in the night. And you've risen beyond mere ally to sovereign, a figure etched in shadow and steel. Machiavelli grasped what most never will, buried in the footnotes of history. Odes aren't bridges to truth, sturdy spans over chasms of doubt, their veils for ambition, gossamer threads hiding the predator's claws. And when someone pledges to you, cloaked in sincerity's glow, they want you to cross first, to drown in the shared illusion of unbreakable unity. The more you invest, secrets traded like currency, vulnerabilities bared like offerings, the less guarded you seem, your fortress walls crumbling under the siege of sentiment. So instead, let them build the bridge alone. Plank by plank under your watchful eye, they overbuild in panic, repeating vows with fervor, piling gestures high, their words tumbling out in a cascade of overcompensation. They start looking frantic, insincere, unhinged, like a performer hamming it up for an audience that's already left the theater. You said nothing, offered no lifeline or condemnation, but now they're under knife, dissected by the very circle they sought to impress. Because the crowd isn't hearing the words, the pretty promises. They're seeing who's steady as the ancient oaks and who's straining like a sapling in the gale. That shadowed power, the kind that whispers through veins. It doesn't come from being right in some moral ledger. It comes from being impenetrable, a monolith against which their waves break harmlessly. Say you're in a deal, a high-wire partnership teetering on the edge, the kind where millions hang in the balance. They lean in across the polished table, eyes gleaming. This is foolproof. We trust each other implicitly, no fine print needed. Most bite hard. They gush details like a confessional flood, seal with fervent handshakes that linger too long, get invested in the fantasy of flawless synergy. The air thickens with their eagerness, a cloying scent of desperation masked as enthusiasm. But the Machiavellian? He leans back into the leather chair, a king surveying his domain. He pauses, letting the silence pool like ink, maybe a ghost of a nod, enigmatic as a sphinx. If he speaks at all, it's not affirmation, a blanket of blind yes. It's a probe, surgical and serene. Show me your stake first. Skin in the game, not just words. Now they're performing, thrust into the spotlight they thought they'd share, the dynamic shifting like tectonic plates. Suddenly, they're evaluated under the harsh fluorescence. They're sweating because doubt from the strong is judgment unspoken, a verdict carved in the quiet. It shrinks them without a word. Their grand gestures reduce to pebbles. Take Steve Jobs, the modern prince of silicon shadows. He trusted no one fully, not even his inner circle at Apple. When partners pledged loyalty, he'd test them with impossible tasks, watching from afar. Those who folded, exiled. The survivors, legends in his orbit, forever proving, in love or close ties, where the stakes cut deepest into the marrow, it's deadlier still, a venom that seeps slow. Your partner confesses in the dim afterglow, I need you to trust me like I trust you. No walls between us. The herd panics, hearts pounding. Floods of reassurance pouring out like a dam burst, shared vulnerabilities laid bare in frantic lists, defenses of the bond erected like sandcastles against the tide. But the shadowed path diverges sharply. You don't reject with cold dismissal, don't affirm with gushing reciprocity. You let the vow linger in the air, heavy as unshed rain. Watch it bounce back hollow off the walls of your reserve. Then calmly, like stating the phase of the moon, trust is earned in actions, not air. Short, grounded, barren of elaboration or emotional garnish. Now they second-guess every syllable. Was I too eager, spilling my soul too soon? Do I seem weak, a supplicant at the altar? Because you've claimed the heart's rhythm, the subtle pulse beneath the skin. And whoever sets the pace sets the trap, dictating when the dance quickens or slows to a crawl. Deeper still into the frostbitten core, colder than a winter betrayal. Don't just withhold trust. Eclipse it entirely. Become the black hole that devours light. Vow made in the heat of the moment. Don't affirm with a nod or a plan. Don't probe with questions that invite more theater. Don't even acknowledge fully, letting it hang like a half-formed thought. But don't cut ties abruptly, severing the thread that binds. Let your distance be the mirror, polished and pitiless. Let them stew in the chill of unreturned faith, marinating in the discomfort of one-sided investment. This breaks them twofold, a double-edged blade slipping between ribs. They realize, with dawning horror, you didn't deem their oath worthy of risk, not even a flicker of reciprocity. Their grand gesture, dismissed as beneath notice. They spin tales in their head, wild narratives of your hidden grudges or superior wisdom. Composure cracking like porcelain under frost. Why does it rend so deep? People feed on mutual light, the reciprocal glow of validation, even in pacts forged in fire. Deny it. Strip away that mirror of affirmation, and they starve in the sudden dark. They double down with frantic escalations, seek nods from the periphery, bait you with bolder proofs or guilt-laced pleas. Each try makes them look hungrier, more desperate, more fractured, a moth battering wings against glass. All while you stand still, a statue in the storm. And that's victory, pure and unadorned, not from exposing their deceit with thunderous accusations, but from them unraveling in the chase, their loyalty's thread pulling them apart. Elite play demand precision, a surgeon's hand in the gloom, when vowed with fervent eyes, make their loyalty a flag of their own desperation, a banner they wave to hide the tremble. They say, I'm loyal to the end, through fire and ruin. You reply, cool as marble, loyalty from the scared always runs deep, deeper than truth. They call you distant, probing for warmth. Only the wise fear the close ones. The fool hugs the viper. They push for more, escalating the plea. Everyone demands proof when they've been burned by ghosts like you. You don't just question the vow. You pin it as their flaw, a mirror held to their insecurities. Now they're defending their own heart, scrambling to justify the eagerness that reeks of need. It's not mere reversal, a simple flip of the coin. It's a shadow throw, judo in the void. You use their warmth, their open palm, against their collapse, redirecting the force into their own foundations. Machiavelli called it the oath's twist in his letters to Medicis. Don't grip the extended hand in blind faith. Let them clutch air and fall upon their own extended folly. History echoes it. Julius Caesar ignored the whispers of Brutus's loyalty, crossing the Rubicon of trust. The daggers followed. Contrast with Augustus, the shadowed emperor who succeeded him. Distrust was his crown, turning senators' oaths into webs of surveillance. The world sells trust as salvation, a fairy tale elixir. Build it brick by brick, nurture with gestures grand and small, die by it as the noble end. Friends forever, partners till the grave. It's the myth we swallow from cradle to crypt. But Machiavelli saw the pit yawning beneath, the trapdoor to ruin. Chase loyalty like a thirsting man after water, and you chase chains that bind your wrists. So the true shadow never plays the fool's game, never dances to the tune of blind reciprocity. He seems too steady to need the crutch of constant affirmation, too elevated to crave the fleeting high of mutual vows, too clear on the risks etched in human nature to ignore the serpent in the garden. Insidiously, gradually, those swearing eternal start looking frantic, clingy, scheming. Like courtiers fawning before a throne they plot to topple. Because the more you trust, spilling secrets like wine at a feast, the more it screams of need, a beggar's bowl held out. But the more you doubt, layering reservations like armor, the more dangerous they deem you, a predator coiled in the underbrush. And that fear, that instinctive recoil, its powers forge, hammering you into legend. Most chase trust to prove their worth in the grand ledger. Show you're loyal with grand gestures. Dispel doubts with endless proofs. Rise above suspicion like a phoenix from ashes. But Machiavelli would laugh dark in the annals, a low rumble in the grave. The second you prove faith, pouring evidence like libations, you validate their power over you, crowning them judge in your court. Hand them that scepter, and you hand your shadow, leashed and led. In a group, a raucous toast at a dimly lit feast, a tense huddle in the war room. Someone toasts alliance with raised glass. To unbreakable bonds, brothers in arms till the end. Most clink glasses with fervor. Share war stories of past loyalties to smooth the edges, believing the ritual seals fate, but it confirms the need, the hunger beneath the cheers. The room smells eagerness, thick as smoke from a dying fire. Here's the shadow move, the one that shifts the axis. Pause amid the clatter. Hold a quiet beat. 2 heartbeats avoid. Scan the circle with quiet edge, not fury, but the amusement of a cat toying with yarn. Then, if at all, a murmur like distant thunder. Words are cheap echoes, actions carved to stone. Or just a steady gaze, eyes like polished flint. They shift uncomfortably, over-explain their toast with nervous laughs. Hunt nods from the fringes. The room turns on them subtly, because your reserve screams louder than the cheers. The bond's on trial, and it's theirs to prove, not yours to beg. Online, in the digital inferno where flames lick faster than thought, it burns hotter, spreading like Greek fire. Pledges in endless threads, alliances forged in DMs with heart emojis. Calls for unity blasted across feeds to rally the tribe. Machiavelli's burn if he scrolled the void in the echo chamber of public opinion. Trust indicts unless it breeds caution, a wary dance around the throne. So don't affirm with likes or replies that feed the frenzy. Don't bond in the comments, weaving yourself into their narrative. Redirect like a river bent. Loyalty's proven in silence, not shouts at fade at dawn. You didn't commit, didn't hand over the keys. You framed it as a test, a gauntlet thrown in the dirt. Now they scramble, bitter posts piling up. You stand scarred-free, a specter above the fray. The feed murmurs, algorithms shifting. Who's really holding the strings here? The pleader or the silent judge? Take the fall of FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried. He built an empire on effective altruism bonds, trusting inner circle with billions. When House of Cards tumbled, loyalties evaporated. Friends turned states evidence. Contrast with Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha. Distrust is his North Star. Partners prove worth over decades. Odes are contracts, not hugs. 3 blades over blind faith, honed for the fray. Reserve, the core and default. Cold as a crypt, exposing their haste like flesh under scalpel. Probe, twist a vow without full buy-in. A question that uncoils their motives. Sharp cuts. Quick truths that shut the door with finality. No room for rebuttal. Loyal forever through thick and thin. Forever breaks first on the rocks itself. We're family now, blood or not. Family bleeds deepest when the knives come out. Trust me blind, no questions asked. Blind eyes see nothing but their own fall. These aren't bonds, fragile as spider silk. They're barriers, ironclad, not I'm safe in your arms, but you can't reach me, no matter the plea. The Machiavellian doesn't beg alliance like a supplicant. He dares betrayal with a raised brow and grows taller in its shadow, roots delving deeper into the earth. Deny the leap of faith, and allies fracture like glass under heel. They expected embrace, a warm rush into unity's arms. Got only void staring back. They escalate in spirals. More vows bark like commands, more proofs flung like desperate offerings, more cracks spiderwebbing their facade. In their frenzy, you rise untarnished, a phoenix from their ashes. Why? You stage their own trap, scripted the denouement where they play the fool. The end game, Machiavellian to marrow, don't shatter pledges with your hand. Let their zeal, their obsessive chase for your nod, do the immolation, burning bright and brief. Think trust's risk is isolation, a lone wolf howling at empty skies. Predictability's the real grave, 6 feet under before the dirt settles. The guarded has enigma, a cloak woven from half shadows. The open, easy mark, doors flung wide for the thief. Those always proving loyalty, endless texts, gifts, grand declarations look starved, hollow-eyed beggars. Those calmly distant, probing from the edges, feared, whispered of in corners. Machiavelli's law, straight from the prince, better fear than bound. If you can of both, fear etches loyalty deeper than love's fleeting ink. But better yet, enigmatic than exposed, a riddle wrapped in night. The puzzle watch close, breaths held, acts slow as molasses. You own the dark, the unseen currents where true power swims. Crush the lie that's poisoned generations. You need no pure alliances, spotless as fresh snow, to rule the board. You need feared ones, laced with the thrill of the unknown. The pure, soft as overripe fruit, expected in every move, easy to topple with a whisper. The feared, not always warm like a hearth, not fully known like an open book, but none crossed lightly, sword sheathed at the sight. That's unsworn reserve's gift, the harvest of doubt sown early. Alliances shift from blind faith to what you might withhold, a specter of reprisal hanging heavy. Stop chasing bonds like a moth to flame. Build an aura that demands proof at every turn, a force field of calculated chill. Even your distance feels chosen, deliberate as a general's feint. Every unshared secret, a step forward in their doubt, a phantom advance through their nightmares, keeping them off balance and you enthroned. The peak isn't mere reserve, a passive wall. It's presence, a calm so rooted in the earth's core, so autarkic in its sovereignty, so aloof from petty pacts and pleading glances that vows dissolve before they can bind, evaporating like dew under noon sun. Not heartless, a robot in flesh, but by design, forged in the fires of deliberate indifference. Train it through the small crucibles, a friend's casual pledge, ignored till actions align. A colleague's alliance tested with a sidelong task. Discipline the impulse to bond, and you cross alignment into mastery. Your doubt becomes a shield, invisible yet impenetrable. Power? As natural as a void's respiration, effortless as shadow lengthening at dusk. Contemplate existence as tacit potentates, the quiet rulers who bend worlds without a shout. No gushing posts flooding feeds with loyalty anthems. No rants defending pacts gone sour. No fence-mending threads woven in public view. Yet they draw shadows like moths to unseen flame, legions orbiting their gravity. Why? Reserve amid O's builds myth, a forge where legends temper hot. Minds fill voids with menace, imaginations running wild in the breach. He harbors untold perils, vaults of leverage we can't fathom. Knows risks they ignore, maps drawn in invisible ink. So secure in his shadowed self, he doesn't flinch at fealty's false glow. That myth, that presumption of depths unplumbed, it's the lodestone of legions, pulling followers into your wake without a command. Machiavelli skipped warm siren song for the grip of iron control, penning warnings in Florence's flickering lamps. The untrusted always master the unseen currents, even in a web of lies spun silk smooth. Paradox's keen edge. The more you bond, weaving souls tight, the lonelier you stand. No one guards what's already given freely, a gift turned to fool's gold. But hold back unfazed, a rock in the rapids, others stepping unbidden, shields raised. That vow was hollow thunder, empty as a beggar's purse. He saw through the veil from the start. Why hound the tacit one with such desperation? They bulwark you, unsolicited champions in the fray. Leverage his crown, jeweled in shadow. Permit the multitude to advocate your cause while you loom above the tumult, untouched by the mud. It builds slow, deliberate as a cathedral's rise. Stone by stone of doubt, mortar restraint over the rush of impulse, proof demanded over pretty promise. Every layer tested in low flames before the inferno. Initiate in the shallows. Ignore easy odes meant to hook the unwary casual. I'm with you, toss like bait. Let them echo alone in the chamber, unanswered. Your quiet decrees the barb unregistered. Beneath contempt's low bar. Meet indirect pledges, subtle alliances in group chats or sidelong compliments. With calm probe, a question like a hook. What proves it beyond words? It drains their fire, leaving embers of unease. Close with short seals, not embraces that invite entanglement. We'll see the truth unfold. Actions carved deeper than odes. Time tests the metal. Each ends it clean, a door shut soft but firm. No creak for more debate. Refine your vessel, the instrument of shadow. Face steady as granite. Body loose yet coil like a spring. Eyes probing depths without mercy. The Machiavellian doesn't twitch at vows, doesn't lean in with eager tilt. Reserve is armor, forged in the smithy of self. The stiller you amid their pleas, the wider your shadow swells, eclipsing the light. Unbuyable, unswayed by flattery's honey, your enigma incarnate, not wild chaos, but unread cipher. A void mirroring their strain, reflecting back the frenzy they brought. Machiavelli susurrus from the grave, a chill wind through olive groves. The deadliest isn't the betrayer who strikes first, daggers flashing. It's the one who never needs to trust, forever one step ahead in the dark. You'll summit where pledges fade, not from open war's clamor, but prescience of rout, the certain knowledge they'll shatter on your unyielding shore. Your silhouette intones across the void. I don't bind souls in fragile knots. Adversaries founder ere they breach my veil, drowning in their own desperate tide. Distinguish vigor from shadowed immunity. The former shudders at honeyed words, bonds quick and heals with scars, sees under the weight. Immunity disregards the extended hand entirely. A ghost untouched by the mortal coil. The ideal Machiavellian zenith. Quell not the discord of broken oaths. Forestall it by its own vanity, rendering alliances obsolete before birth. For the untrusted, inquisition dissipates like smoke. You're no tribunal's quarry, no pawn in the pack's endless court, transcended beyond approval's grasping gaze. Sole adjudicator, your shadowed self, judge and jury in the hall of one. Henceforth, abide not in bonds that chafe, but in command's unyielding throne. Ordain your distance with precision, your probe like a lancet, your quiet a weapon drawn slow. They divine in the marrow, the edge honed in your gaze, the steel forged in your stance, the chill radiating from your reserve like winter's breath. Resistance to their plea surrenders to reign absolute. The circle mutes its chatter. Ally fall tacit, voices trailing off. Your resonance weighs heavy, not rested in frantic trust, but unsworn, a gravity born of enigma. Untrusted words, stratagems pure, not mere reverberations. Each unvoiced respiration, each pause amid the pull of sentiment, you emerge the uncontrollable, a shadow sovereign, amenable to none but the void's own whisper.